Hi, kids. My name is Dana Higgins, and I'm reading to you in honor of Black History Month for the people and kids. The name of the book I'm reading is It's Her Story, Ida B. Wells, a graphic novel written by Anastasia McGlory Williams, illustrated by Alleanna Harris. I have front page news for you, reader. A story to tell about the world according to me, Ida B. Wells. Did you know that one voice can change the world? Let me show you how. We'll start at the beginning. In 1862, I was born into slavery in Holly Springs, Mississippi. The Civil War was raging, but change was coming for millions of Black Americans in Confederate states like mine. And when I was 2, the 13th Amendment outlawed slavery in all states. My family focused on teaching, politics, and helping our community grow. My father helped start Shaw College, where I learned to read, write, and study. He used his voice for change. But not all change is easy. In 1878, when the fever came to Holly Springs, my parents and baby brother died. I vowed to take care of my siblings. I was only 16, but I could teach. I was free to earn a living, pass down the lessons my parents had taught me, and helped keep together my family. But freedom from slavery didn't mean equality. Racism was alive and well in the South, and Black people faced discrimination and injustice. When I was 21, I felt that injustice while taking a train. I was told to give up my seat and go to the back of the train simply because of the color of my skin. Of course, I refused. The conductor grabbed me. I ask you, reader, is this how we treat a first-class passenger? I sued the train company for discrimination. This court rules in favor of Ida B. Wells. That decision would later be overturned, but the moment lit a fire in me. I stood up for racial discrimination for others and myself. At this time, women were fighting for the right to vote. I wanted to make sure that Black women were part of that fight. To make sure I was heard by as many people as possible, I used my voice in a new way. I began to write. I wrote about what I saw happening around me, but not everyone supported my new path. Sometimes standing up for what is right upsets people in power. Some folks dislike change, and others are simply taught to hate. But I had a mission. Writing about prejudice became my focus. My life up until this moment had prepared me well. In 1889, I invested money that I saved and became co-owner of Memphis Free Speech and Headlight, a Black newspaper. As the first woman in the country to co-own and edit a Black newspaper, my stories got attention. For my safety, I wrote under a false name. Our society had to change. I wanted my people to fight back, so I armed them with knowledge. We saw that free Black Americans were victims of violence and a legal system didn't help us. To watch Black people living in fear and poverty filled me with sadness and rage. I vowed to support my community with every breath. we would see an end to this cruelty. My voice rang throughout Memphis. I hope to inspire action in others as my father had. In 1892, something horrible happened. My close friends were killed by a large group of white people. The leaders of this mob owned the grocery store across the street from my friend Thomas Moss's grocery. They didn't think black businesses should succeed. Time and time again, we're denied justice. We simply want to live and work freely. Afraid for my community's safety, I suggested Black Americans should leave Memphis. But me, I had work to do. I stayed to fight the lynchings of Black people. By now, I was writing as Ida B. Wells, and I did not soften my words for anyone. Brave woman, Frederick Douglass said. It was during this time I became a detective as well. I investigated every incident of violence, and I shared everything I discovered. But the more I wrote and spoke about truth and horror, the more I put my life in danger. Don't worry about me, that wasn't the end. But I had to make the right choice for my friends, my family, and myself. I moved north to New York City. In Brooklyn, I found more opportunities to work with women. I learned from them and they learned from me. It was a powerful time. And what was next for me? Well, to change the world, of course. I was invited to England to speak about the mistreatment of Black people in America. My fame grew. My travels spread my message across the miles. And while some were not interested in working with me, I wasn't alone in the fight. Eventually, I settled in Chicago, Illinois. There, I documented 728 cases over 8 years in which Black people were attacked. I worked with other activists like Frederick Douglass to fight discrimination. And I met Ferdinand Barnett, a lawyer, activist, journalist, and newspaper owner. We worked closely together and shared many things: a passion for writing, a dedication to civil rights work, a dream for a better life for our people, and before long, we shared a last name as well. We married in 1895. I was now Ida B. Wells Barnett. Nurtured with love, our family grew. My children were my joy. I wanted to give them a happy life, free from the horrors I had seen. So I kept on working. I started the first early schooling program in Chicago for Black children. I worked with great speakers of the age and always spoke my mind. I was also very vocal about women's rights. Women still couldn't vote, and I would not stop fighting until they could. I wasn't always welcome in the women's rights marches, where the leaders were white, but impossible was not a word I believed in. I worked hard, and I deserved a seat at the table. Even within the civil rights movement, some men and even some women did not think a lady should lead. But I didn't let their opinion silence me. Allies like Jane Addams joined my fight. I was a founding member of the National Association of Colored Women in 1896 and the Negro Fellowship League in 1908, helping to combat poverty. And in 1909, I was a founding member of the NAACP. Over the decades, I would write and publish hundreds of articles and many books on lynchings, segregation, and law. I even helped push an anti-lynching bill before Congress in 1922. In 1930, I ran for state office, paving the way for amazing political leaders in the future. Throughout it all, I held onto the most important tool I had, my voice. In my lifetime, I saw changes that my father only dreamed of. And change continued long after my time. But reader, my work is not done. Great-Grandma Ida, I'll continue your work. One day we will all be free and equal on this earth. Your voice is powerful, no one can take it away. My great-grandmother fought for justice. Her voice lives on in me and everyone who hears her story. Even though she is gone, she is still remembered. Her voice, her mind, and her bravery are an example to us all. Ida's voice changed the world around her and the world that was to come. So when you see injustice, remember Ida B. Wells and use your voice to change our world. I hope you enjoyed that, kids. Happy Black History Month. Bye.